So let us see some of the important MCQs from the topic absorption of the digestive products. Okay. So let us start. Which food should be eaten during the deficiency of the rhodopsin in ice? So let us see the options. A. Carrot and rice papaya. B. Guava and banana. C. Mango and potato. D is none of the above. So rhodopsin is a pigment which is necessary for the sight. Mainly they are responsible for the functioning of the rods and the cones. So it is mainly responsible for the our eyesight. And this rhodopsin, the production of rhodopsin mainly is dependent on the presence of the vitamin A in the eyes. Means it depends on the intake of the vitamin A. Okay. So deficiency of vitamin A causes the deficiency of rhodopsin in the eyes. So what are the products or what are the fruits and vegetables which are very rich in vitamin A? We know they are carrot, papaya, etc. So we have to select the option carrot and rice papaya, which increases the intake of vitamin A so that we will be prevented from the deficiency of the rhodopsin in the eyes. Okay. So let us see our answer is correct or wrong. Yeah, it is correct. So now let us go to the next question. During prolonged fastings, in what sequence are the following organic compounds used up by our body? So see the options. First carbohydrates, next fats, lastly proteins. Usually, this is a sequence which is followed. Normally, first carbohydrates will be entering into the cycle which is called as TCA cycle, that is tricarboxylic acid cycle, which produces energy. Later, the fats will be again converted into carbohydrates. Okay, and this will be useful. This enters into the TCA cycle for the production of energy, and at last, proteins are also converted into carbohydrates. Later, they also will be used for the production of energy. So this sequence is correct. Okay, let us check whether it is correct or wrong. Yeah. Yes, it is correct. So here explanation is also given. If you can see, during prolonged fasting, first carbohydrates are used up. Later, fats and proteins are used. Okay, carbohydrate and fat metabolism can be easily produce energy more than the protein, and they follow a more simpler pathway to enter into the TCA cycle, that is carboxylic acid cycle. When all the carbohydrates of the body are used up, then later fats will be converted into carbohydrates, and when all the fats are used up, and ultimately proteins are converted into carbohydrate later, which produces energy. Okay, now let us go to the next question. Epithelial cells of the intestine involved in the food absorption have on their surface, means what they will be having for increasing in the surface area of absorption, and microvilli, these are the things, these are the structures which increases the surface area of the absorption. Okay, so we have to select this one only. Why? Because microvilli are the small hair like structures which increases the surface area of absorption. So let us check. Yeah, so they have given the explanation also. So microvilli are countless minute closely set projections from the free surface of the mucosal cells of the intestine. There are about 500 microvilli of each cells. These are meant to increase the absorptive surface area of the intestine. Means they increase the surface area of the intestine. So why not the others? They have given the explanation. Pinocytic vehicles are involved in the intake of extracellular fluid, means the fluid which is present outside the cell. And we know phagocytic vesicles are mainly involved in the engulfing of the solid particles. Mainly they are involved in the killing of the bacteria or viruses. Okay. And zymogen granules, these are the proteolytic enzymes which are present in the inactive form. So our correct option is microvilli. Okay. So now let us proceed to the next question. Which one of the following statements is true regarding the digestion and absorption of the food in the humans? Okay, let us see the options. Okay, fructose and amino acids are absorbed through the intestinal mucosa with the help of carrier ions like sodium. Second one, the chylomicrons are the small lipoprotein particles or lipoprotein particles that transports from the intestine into the blood capillaries. C. About 60% of starch is hydrolyzed by the salivary amylase in our mouth. D. Oxyntic cells in our stomach secrete the proenzyme pepsinogen. No, this is wrong option. Yes. Why? Because we know that oxygentic cells are involved in the production of HCl. And even this is also not correct option. So about 60% of the starch is not hydrolyzed in our, means it is not digested in our mouth. Only in the mouth maltose is converted into glucose. Okay. So we have to select the correct option, that is A. So let us check. Yeah, it is correct. Glucose and galactose are absorbed by the active transport. Okay. Sodium pump of the cell membrane helps in the active take-up. Fructose is absorbed by the facilitated diffusion that involves a specific transmembrane carrier. Okay, and amino acids are absorbed by the active transport coupled with sodium transport. Active sodium transport when they enter into the bloodstream. Okay, so now our option is A, that is fructose and amino acids are absorbed through the intestinal mucosa by the help of the sodium ions, means it is by facilitated transport. Okay, now let us go to the next question. So carrier ions like sodium facilitate the absorption of substances like amino acids and glucose, glucose and fatty acids and glycerol, fructose and amino acids. So what will be the correct option? Carrier ions like sodium facilitate the absorption of substances like amino acid and glucose. Okay, so let us proceed to the next question. Before that, let us check. Yeah, absorption of glucose and amino acids is mediated by the carrier ions like sodium. The concentration of the sodium is higher in the intestinal lumen compared to the mucosal cells, so which helps in the absorption of that is substances like glucose as well as amino acids. Okay. So now let us proceed to the next question. Select the correct match of the digested products in the humans in the column 1 with their absorption site and the absorption mechanism in the column 2. Means here in the column 1 they have given the substances, whereas in the column 2 they have given where the absorption of these substances will be taking place. So column 1, glycerol and fatty acids. So in column 2, where they are absorbed, duodenum move as chylomicrons. So it is not the correct option. So let us see the next one. Column 1. What are these? Cholesterol and maltose. Large intestine active absorption. So it is also not correct. So now see the third one. Glycine and glucose. Means it is a glycine is an amino acid. Glucose is a simple sugar. Small intestine and active absorption. Yeah, it is correct. Yes. Fructose and sodium, small intestine and passive absorption. It is also wrong. So the correct option is C. Okay. So small intestine, here the explanation is also there. Small intestine is a major area of absorption of nutrients. Approximately 80% of the absorption takes place here in small intestine. So glucose, fructose, fatty acids, amino acids are absorbed through the mucosa into the blood and live by the active absorption. Okay. Now let us proceed to the next question. Fructose is absorbed into the blood through the mucosal cells of the intestine by the process called. So it is with the help of the means with the help of a carrier ion, that is sodium. So it is facilitated transport. Okay. So let us check. Yeah, facilitated transport is a form of passive transport in which materials are moved across the plasma membrane by a transport protein. So here it is sodium. So the correct option is B. So now let us see the next question. They have given two statements. So first one, fatty acids and glycerol cannot be absorbed into the blood. Okay. Statement 2, specialized lymphatic capillaries called lacteals carry the chylomicrons into the lymphatic vessels and ultimately into the blood. In the light of the above two statements, choose the most appropriate option from the options given below. Both statement 1 and 2 are correct. So here, if we can see, we know that fatty acids and glycerols, they can't be absorbed directly into the blood, and there are lacteals which are present, okay, which carry the small particles like chylomicrons into the lymphatic vessels. Later, they will be carried into the blood. So the correct option is this one, that is both. Let us check. Yeah. Now let us see the next question. Select the correct sequential steps regarding the absorption of fatty acids and glycerols in the intestine. So if you see, they have given the sequence. Micelles are micelles are reformed into small proteins, coated fat globules called chylomicrons. Then micelles move into the intestinal mucosa. Fatty acids and glycerol are incorporated into the small droplets called micelles. So this will be our first option. That is fatty acids and glycerol. They can't be directly taken into the blood. So they have to be converted into smaller particles called micelles. Then what will happen? These micelles, they move into the intestinal mucosa. Okay, so the next option will be this. Then what happens? These missiles which are taken into the intestinal mucosa will be reformed into the small protein coated globules, okay, fat globules called chylomicrons. Okay, then after that what happens? These chylomicrons, they have to be carried into the lacteals. Okay, so E has to be correct. Then what will be happening? These lacteals then release that substances into the bloodstream. So the first option, first will be C, then it will be B, okay, then it will be A, then E, then D. So this is the correct option. Yeah, it is correct. Okay. So these are the some of the MCQs from your previous year questions from the topic absorption of digestive products. So in the next video, again, we will discuss some of the MCQs from the next topic. Okay. Thank you.